Welcome back, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer 1745 with my continuing playthrough of Hearts of Iron 3's Black Ice 11.2. And of course, we're playing as the United States, and we're going to continue here. Let's speed this back up. Direct fire unit combined arms would be here. What do I support? Let's do installation security. Infantry light branch, which is probably grayed out. Let's look at our current production. Right. Earlier, but that's fine. There. Those coming very soon. Well, two more carriers. Down here. Cruiser, medium artillery. Medium anti-air artillery, okay. We'll do screws and rudders. Submarine, okay. Liberia doesn't want any more resources. I think, yes. South Africa, all right. Okay. Okay, we're doing, at least for the moment, very well. We're going to get these done for coal usage, though that's obviously going to expand. Need for more energy. Yeah, let's do two more battleships. Medium popular. Lost high. Mountain unit training has advanced. Okay, well, we'll just stop that then. Unit fire. Unit training and stop that. More gold. Nice. Okay, so you need to get copper. Cool. Basic education. Yeah. Now we're getting back to current usable amounts. Waiting for landing craft. That is one and done. Fine. Okay, now we have some extra leadership. Got a little bit of that from the event. Costa Rica, okay. Float planes. Yeah, this one, so we're done with that. We don't need any of those yet. We can still sort of do those in time. Let's continue to get our army well organized. Ag crew training. These guys. We'll be back to that. Maybe very soon, but organized up. Small warship. Control. Carried out. Good. That one. We get the 1941s that are not upgradable later on. I don't know if we're going to do super heavy. Or we could do dual purpose guns. Supplies, no. Well, let's look at our supply situation. Okay, well, let's up this to something about like that. armor unit training. Building ahead of time. Is that profitable at all? Well, it depends. See, what I'm trying to do here is, like this carrier will not be ready until April 42 if it stays in production at this rate, modified by practicals coming here. So probably a little earlier than that, probably, but I'm not sure. And that'll be after the war starts, so we won't even have that until the war starts. So I'm starting to build my fleet up here, June 42 for these battleships. So we're pushing forward on them. We're trying to get this stuff done. So since ships that are going to be showing up in 42 are already in production, I am working to get them as advanced as I can practically now. So when I put them in production, they'll be as up to date as we can. So that's what I'm looking at for these long-term production projects. Things like light carrier anti-aircraft artillery can be upgraded. We'll do this sort of natural upgrade as time goes on if it's sitting in port. Some of these it's not the case, so I'm not sure on all of them. So we're going to okay, we need to turn primary unit training, unit command and control. So I don't need to push, and since I'm not doing anything with my armor now, it's just whatever armor that I may have is just sitting around. I don't need that really yet. And it could efficiently be researched, so we did it. Now we're going to do catapults particularly. Yeah. So I want to get those done for ships that will be built or be put in production soon. These things are upgradable, or we'll just upgrade once we do them. Tactics. And some of these are just way behind the time, so we're trying to catch up with them. Okay, division HQs, good. Okay, that's just to a 38, so we'll let that continue. No thanks. We're back to high popularity, which will give me more research capability. Yeah. Movement. Infantry radios. Need, we're at war. Capital ships, very good. Maybe a few of the ships that I put in production I should have waited on just a little longer, probably, but not that well organized of a player to do so. Got come in here and check just how much longer until some of these, come about and wait to production. Probably would have been better. Oh well. So let's unlock a few more. The submarine class. Here, yeah, that's grayed out. Okay. Okay, capital ship hull. Okay, so that is, yeah, good. I'm considering doing these. Yeah, let's get these going. No Latvian. We don't need the money really, and you're not a. That was research. Capital ship. Rudder. Not radar, rudder. Okay, here, which we could do. Battle cruiser class. Well, okay, I'm not sure if we're going to build battle cruisers. Air Force HQ. We're going to consider building a battle. I don't know yet. Oh, yeah. Oh no, we want no. Okay. No, we don't want to buy supplies. I thought they wanted it. No. Yeah. Aluminum surplus is down. Fighter ground control is advanced. We want that continue, and carrier damage control is advanced. Here somewhere. I guess we're not continuing to research this. So, I don't know. Catapults items here somewhere. Does say carrier. Okay. Um, Boats and planes are probably the way to go for America before war. Yeah. Well, I'm planning on building some forces to go particularly into the Philippines prior to the war, and more than what we have here now. Maybe an armored division or two. I'm hoping to get done. Um, uh, fire control. So this is grayed out. Fine. And so I am looking to build up some of that stuff before the war starts out. But I'm not planning on like invading Germany day one that the war starts. Capital ship. Horizontal protection advance. I'm going to let that build up to that. It's just the things that take a long time to build, to put through production. Okay, it was that one there. Well, who knows? I may decide I want those. Let's just design them, I guess. fighter prototype, which now unlocks all of these, and that's sort of what I was driving towards. And what is that? Okay. An interceptor, sure. And position. 4-engine airplanes. That will unlock that and keep that going. Bulgaria, no. Capital ship. All right. That one there, 42. Yeah. Yeah, you want to look through these. What is pre-calculated artillery? Pre-calculated artillery, I believe, is over here. Yes, 41 is too advanced. Division headquarters. Cuba, yes. Cluster bomb. Naval HQ. Which is here. Well, paratrooper activation. We want to get that going, I guess. Industrial zone advance. All right, which reduces some of our production there. Okay, well, we now have more than we need. Okay, well, I think we can use more industry. I don't know that we have enough. I mean, I want to put more chips into production. Yes, I do. I also want to get some of this other stuff going. We could do both down here, and those would be effectively useful. Right. Look at the industry. So we unlock this really good Buffalo coal field. We're not doing any more coal, but we're expanding, so we need to do some more coal. Okay. Maybe we can keep these to 6 or greater. Seven, so let's base at 6 or greater. 13, yes, that'll be well worth 6. Okay, coal field, get that going. Five. That's the 10 we're already exploiting. And that's a 7. Okay. like that. There we go. We'll get more coal done. More energy. Okay, order placed. Who buy? United Kingdom. Yes, we'll do that. Your sales, small warship damage control, and we'll just cancel that. Oh, that's why we okay. We can invest in a lot of stuff here. Okay, well, first let's get these two done. Yeah. Into coal mines, metal mines, scientific community. Well, we could do more of that. So if we invest in coal mines here, we'll get develop coal industry event 20,000. We have 30,000. So let's go for develop our coal energy. Coal Pittsburgh. Where is Pittsburgh? Pittsburgh is Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. There we go. Okay, good. Is huh? Two coal fields gain. Oh, gain 75 energy there. Huh? Oh wow. Oh wow. Yes, we'll do that. Okay. So we not only got that, but we should now have that should be ramping up to 75. Okay, so yeah, okay, some of these things are coming. Maybe we didn't need all of those coal. Invest in the scientific community or mines. Get a little more money stored up there. Okay, receivement from our air order. More money and supplies, great. Reorganize the war ministry. I always do this because um, I don't need territorial pride right now. Well, okay, I don't need. I'm not recruiting anybody, so recruiting time isn't good. Territorial pride I could do because I don't need that now. But revolt risk. If things go wrong here, it's recruitment or organization unit bad. Here, more revolt risk. Don't need more revolt risk. There's a 40% chance. I want money and supply, so I want to do that. Um, Here again, there's a 40%. Well, some national but daily dissent. Now, if we get parliament, now if we get, you just change that to congressional issues. If we had it to 80 or 90% chance of getting the good thing, then yeah, national revolt risk would be good to go down. But we're not there yet, so we're going to do that. The artillery barrel ammunition has advanced, very nice, but we haven't reinvested in our scientific community and medium artillery brigades. That is grayed out. Okay, good. New Zealand. And we give them, no, we don't. We don't want to buy things. Buy supplies. Air superiority tactic. Close air support prototype, which should be grayed out. Yes. So changing and happening because we've expanded our industry and we have not been buying them. So, oh well. Ground attack tactics. Damage control. grayed out, it must be. Reception tactics. Now, the Belgies want 1 unit of close air support. I guess, guys, have fun. Have fun with your close air support as the Luftwaffe shoots it all down. Okay, now. We're not going to do the trading, but we might do the investing in. Okay, 2,000 money. Let's come up here and look at our strategic effect. Hey, Rhaegar. How you doing? Good to have you here. Okay. Zinc, metal. Well, we've got okay amounts of metal. Supplies, yes. Tungsten, we're in a shortage. Oh, well, these shortages are because we don't control. Okay. Copper. Let's do aluminum. We'll want aluminum for air build speed eventually. So let's invest in aluminum. More mechanisms. Well, yeah, it is sort of easy mode. I'll grant you that. But it's also been interesting. You missed interesting talk earlier. At least I thought it was interesting, and a few people that were listening were interacting heavily with it, talking about how the sort of Japanese invasion of China is similar to the Russian invasion of Ukraine and the world situation and all that. So it allows me to talk about things. So yeah, if that's a worthy thing. Port strike tactics, we'll stop that. Okay, defensive positions is um, yeah, no, where is defensive positions? It's down here. Okay. You should all know by now, most of the reason I'm playing this is just giving me an excuse to talk to you about things. Yeah, we'll do take cannon barrel, get that going. I like how Kaiser Reich solved the problem by 3 by U.S. Civil War. Yeah. Yeah. Uh, well, we can do cruiser or crew training and such a bit later on. Oh, but radar. Yeah. Yeah. You know. I don't think. I don't think the world would like to have America go to civil war again. The carriers have advanced. Okay, that would be here. Okay, we're now at 42. Yeah, I probably made a mistake getting these guys into production already. Okay, yeah, I probably did. Probably should have waited just a little while longer. Let's look over here. 441. These aren't, but I'm okay. A little bit too early for me to research effectively. Range finding equipment. Presume artillery carriage design. Well, we're trying to bankrupt ourselves. We're going to give $40 billion to Ukraine. Yeah, I want to support Ukraine, but $40 billion worth? I don't think so. Here, focus, that would be targeting focus, that would be here. We'll stop that for the moment. Twin engine fighter prototype is advanced, and that was probably grayed out. No, it isn't, but it's 1940. That's too far forward. The U.S. won't bankrupt itself. I I know, Ragar, what we're going to do is not bankrupt ourselves. We're going to create more and more inflation. That won't bankrupt um, ourselves, but that's a different thing, I know. But it's um, so we're going to invest in our scientific community. So 10,000. All right. Well, this will give us a bunch more. Okay. This is 1940, so we'll go on that. That'll unlock other things. These are 1940. Forget. Push that ahead. No, no, we can just print money. We don't have to borrow it. General Motors tool and die makers strike. Okay, Walter Reuther took on GM at a weak point, concentrating on its tool and die makers, building on the successive strikes of more militant shops to build a walkout against all of GM tool and die makers. Unable to retool for the 1940 models, the company had no choice but to recognize the UAW as the bargaining agent for GM's tool and die makers, the first in a series of dominoes that were to fall. The next GM production workers were brought into the fold, leading to other industry victories. Ford finally capitulated in 1941. Okay, beyond the sort of stupid 7 regiments rise up. I guess I could just look at this as everything is sort of, well, not everything, but a lot of things are pendulums. They swing back and forth. The unions got so much power over these companies that they eventually destroy the companies. Okay, the big three automakers got destroyed, and the only reason they are still in existence today is because of government bailouts, multiple ones at different points in their history. So, however much good a union, their unions have done a good purpose, but they always push too far. Eventually, they push it to where these companies go out of business, and you will either have foreign imports, or you'll have other companies come in other parts of the United States that aren't unionized and be successful. So unions are ultimately a destructive force. Yes, unchecked industries are a problem. That is not in question. But unions always do this. All these companies fail eventually, and they fail primarily because of unions. And it's just a case. So, now this uprising is still here in Detroit. Good thing we have these guys. Yes. Okay. Flying boat prototypes have advanced. Nice. You realize, I don't know if you do, but there were dock workers strikes. There were dock workers strikes in Australia that were delaying supplies to Guadalcanal. Here. Literally. And I don't mean just, they sort of, no, they knew it. And they were pushing for more workers, whatever. When soldiers were needed, and they were refusing to offload and reload or whatnot, U.S. supplies coming in the middle of the war. This is what I'm talking about with these unions. I don't know the working conditions of Australian dock workers in 1942. But my God, in the middle of the war, when people are dying, you're putting on a dock workers strike. Well, that's when the companies are vulnerable because we've got to get our workers' demands. Ugh. It's just gross. It's just gross. And it's why I just am not happy with unions. So I'm not going to say I'm always anti-union, but yes, you can have money. 30. Heavy cruiser classes advance. Okay. There are a lot of there's a lot of unionized retail workers here, particularly in the grocery industry. And although recently, in the last 10 years, they have not really been pushing very hard, but they've been various times pushing for better and better contracts, or pushing to keep the old good contract when the companies want to offer new stuff. Well, all that it's doing is pushing companies to do more automated self-checkouts and the sort of Amazon stores that you see that Yeah, somebody's obviously coming in and putting food on the or other products onto the shelves, but you just walk out of the store. It automatically takes when you pick the stuff out of the shelf and put it in your cart. It rings it up at that sort of that point or final in when it goes out of the store. So they're becoming less and less employee oriented. And okay, I get your idea that well, maybe more efficiency. We don't need these redundant employees. Okay, but all you're doing is hastening that down the path, the road down the path of whatever's to come. And guaranteed minimum income is not a good idea for civilizations. You're just going to get entropy. And so to push for things out there is just wrong. And these unions are just making bad secondary. Okay. Guns. Good thing we're doing some of the secondary, which allows what battleship classes. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Good. We want to do that. Actually, we're going to do that and do that. But this is going to take a while. September 39. I did get some battleships into production, which is good because even they, if they stay at full production, is still he's going to be in June 3042 for that USS Wyoming. It felt like the U.S. didn't care as much about soldiers. Okay, the U.S. I know of very few. Well, I don't. I know of basically no deaths in war factories to the best of my knowledge. I'm not saying there were none because there are probably some industrial accidents that some things happen. But in most of the, I don't know of a single. And the U.S. cared probably more about its soldiers than any of the other nations out there. I don't know, Ragar, I don't know where you're getting that view from. I know of very little. More people were dying in building the Empire State Building here. So I think it's like 7 people died or something. That's just a number popped in my head. I don't know that it's real. During its production, mostly for falling accidents or something fell on them or something during the production of it. But I don't know of this. I don't, and I think I would if it was a generalized thing. I think I would have heard of it because I paid attention. Canada copper. Okay. Naval. But I'd love to post a link to an article that talks about factory deaths. Where you did see a fair amount of people dying during the building of the Boulder Dam here. But that was being built in the middle of summer in desert in some of the warmer years. Oh, global warming. No, it was some of the warmer years back then. And dying from things like heat stroke. Yeah, a few probably industrial accidents in that, some truck drove over somebody or something. Some big truck didn't see somebody walking in the road, or, some crane swung something and hit somebody. That's I'm talking industrial accidents versus just not enough hydration and whatnot. And this is where actually hard hats for industrial workers, to the best of my knowledge, starts with Boulder Dam, and that they were taking the sort of hats of the day and dipping them in tar, and then that would heat up and dry out and all, and make sort of a cloth hat that was a bit harder for things, because they didn't really have, the Bakelite existed, but Bakelite's fairly brittle. They really didn't have before this and any of the construction ideas, and so tin hard hats start becoming more and more of a thing. Maybe they pre-existed, but really for outdoor construction, hard hats were a lot of the stuff that was put up. We're starting to do there, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody proved me wrong. Saw it in some World War II stick, but I don't remember where. I understand you may have saw it, but because they were definitely not modern day safety conditions for sure. I'm not saying that, but I just don't hear them as being a significant thing. And the U.S., obviously you got like Wake Island in the Philippines where they're being run over, by the Japanese. But when the U.S. are going on the offensive, they're really trying to do hospital ships, lots of medical attentions. The U.S. has the greatest percentage of tail to nose or to spear tip or whatever, greatest logistical backing for troops versus any other nation on the planet at the time. So in essence, more bullets get to the soldiers because of what the U.S. does, and that's caring about the soldiers more than anybody else. So I just don't see it. I don't see it. Road networks advanced, very good. Industrial zones. So why wasn't already okay? Airplane radio communications. Land based. Yeah, we could do some of these. Get that going. And I have to look at everything as my understanding is comparative. Compared to whoever else. Compared to the Soviets, I'm sure the Soviets were not as friendly to workers' safety. Comparing it to German industrial factories populated by Germans, I don't think that they're any better or worse necessarily there. Now, obviously, populated by concentration in camp employees, hey, maybe 100% fatalities there. So yeah, I mean that's slave labor at its worst. British factories, there was a fair amount of death going on there. For workers, or significant injuries. We're not talking, a couple of stitches. You mean your skin gets ripped. I'm not talking like deep into the muscle. Just your skin gets ripped and is bleeding. You need a couple of stitches, and to get repaired. I'm talking serious injuries beyond that. There was problems in Britain, so that I know of. That was a concern, but I don't know. It depends, and statistics. It's how they're looking at it. Okay, France, zinc. All right. Engineer unit training. Very good. Very good. That gets us to 41, but it unlocks these. Yay. And South Africa. Yes, you can hit the water. And close air support. Okay. Tactical Air Command Advance. Very good. Okay. Assault weapons here. And I'm not some person that's, America, number one, and never going to criticize it. If I thought that they were, I would readily acknowledge it, that they were careless with workers' lives over the general standard of the period. I definitely would acknowledge that. Well, I think this is going to be the end of the episode here. I want to thank you all for watching. Thanks for liking the videos. If you're new watching this, please, of course, subscribe. Love to see you back. And what is Rager saying? See, that article also talked about conscription evaders who didn't want to enter the army for moral reasons. Yeah. They existed. I don't know exactly where the Amish territory is, somewhere around here. You do have the Amish and the Quakers that are long-standing pacifists. And I don't know the specific attitudes during World War II regarding them. I mean, there was a general disgust at people unwilling to fight for their nation, yes. But America, these Amish and Quaker communities are mostly hereditary, and we know who they are. And I don't think we would generally go, maybe they did in World War II, and I just don't know about it, generally, go hard on them. Most of them, they thought of them as cowards. There were obviously, conscientious objectors who truly didn't want to fight. Generally speaking, I don't know how widespread, but some of the movies at the time, made during World War II, and I remember some of the stuff dealing with it. They would specifically, be drafted into the army or whatever, and if they wanted to fill the need, they'd have them go medics. If you don't want to carry a gun, fine, but you're going in the army. And you don't want to, you don't have to contribute to the death of anybody. Just be a medic, help people out. And if people were willing to do that, and if they, whether they were a conscientious objector or not, and they showed bravery, being a medic on the battlefield, no one was going to, think them a coward for their views. It just, you had different views, but you were willing to come in and potentially sacrifice your life, definitely sacrifice time and trauma of being in the war, and try to save lives. Yeah, okay. There was a fair amount of that, and I'm taking that from the movies, the propaganda at the time. That would be an acceptable path. The U.S. just tried to find the data about U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. Well, they have very bureaucratic website. Bureaucrats having a bureaucratic website? Oh, what do you know? Yes. And, neither of my grandfathers served in World War II. One, he was just a little too young to serve in World War I. And by the time World War II rolls around, he was, I don't know, I could figure it out, but, like 35 years old or something like that. And he had 2 children by the time the war started out, and he was in something of a he owned a butcher shop, so it's a necessary civil job, so, and he didn't want to volunteer because his business would have gone out of business, and the army didn't pay enough to support his family while he's overseas, so he doesn't go into the war, so he skips both wars. My other grandfather, his brother does go in and is in a Marine, but my other grandfather, who doesn't serve, he only had 9 fingers by the time World War II started, and 2 of his fingers that were remaining on his left hand didn't quite work as well as most people's because of a chemical accident. Hello, Malvigil, how you doing? Pouring one chemical into another chemical vial, glass vial, and created an explosion, and you can sort of see how that would affect his left hand. Lost a finger doing that, working in school, I believe it was, in chemistry. So he lost a finger. So being only of 9 fingers, he was exempt from the draft, and I don't think the military overly wanted him because they weren't that hard up for for personnel. But he otherwise was a very fit man, other than, left hand didn't. I mean, his thumb and forefinger worked just fine. It was sort of the other fingers didn't work so great on his left hand. So being that, they didn't, push him. Now, like I say, his brother, and going to the Marine Corps, that was a volunteer. All the Marines were volunteers. Now, you may have gotten your draft notice and then decide to walk over to the Marine Corps recruiting center and join the Marines instead. But all the Marines were drafts. So were volunteers. So his brother did go into the Marine Corps, and he was of the right age to go into the Marines, or my grandfather was the right age to go into the service, but he didn't because he was, 4F or whatever the term would be for, a medical deferment of not being fit for service. And so the U.S. wasn't scraping the bottom of the barrel for manpower, because he would have been fit enough to do some job in the Army or the Navy, meaning a desk job, a home job, and free up a sailor or a soldier doing something else, theoretically. If you just needed more manpower to do something, he would have been capable of doing it. So yeah, that's just my personal family knowledge, and that one was of the age to possibly go into the military, but old and out of the general draft lots, and basically only volunteers at that age were going, I believe. And the other one was in the right age group, but just not physically fit for it as well. So the U.S. was never that big, never stressed out hard for manpower to be in there. So yeah, I hear you talking about it, and basically, for the most part, my understanding is the U.S. military as a whole during World War II was mostly concerned about the idea that people would claim to be conscientious objectors just to get out of going in the military. And not that, like I say, a well-known, like particularly the Amish were and who the Amish are. They dress a certain way. They don't drive in cars. They have horse and buggies. They don't use the modern electricities in their home. So who they are, and they are a pacifist religious group, and so they're just like, yeah, okay, those are the Amish. You're the Amish, oh, fine. And that would generally be an oh, fine thing, I do believe. It's more other people deciding, I'm deciding not to go into the war. That's what they were concerned about, because if they let marginal cases that, well, yeah, maybe you aren't a conscientious objector, truly at heart, but then if we let you out of it, then everybody else is going to claim to be out. Who doesn't want to go is going to claim that and not go. So that's more what they were concerned about, the back wave of possibility than do they have enough manpower? Because obviously I've demonstrated that they did have enough manpower to do what they were planning on doing. Okay, well, I guess that's going to end the episode here. Thank you, everyone.